tragically, preceded by one that saw a pupil break the internet for all the wrong reasons. On this day, we introduce a new segment on Sidebar. We call it Who Said What? Stay tuned for that. Later, my guests will be reflecting on the cartoon of the week and on Time Bar, back in time 6 years ago to the date today. But first, it's my take tonight. And the death of the 8 pupils of a private school right here in Nairobi is yet another tragedy that reminds us of the chaos in the sectors, all the sectors of the economy. It exposed the rot not only in the education sector, but also in construction, public health, and national security. Controls have been demolished and lawlessness has become the order of the day. Specifically, Education Ministry has lost control over the schools. A situation obtains where low-end private and informal schools have mushroomed and operate without supervision and quality checks. Anyone can set up a structure and enroll learners without necessarily the necessary requirements. Also, the tragedy exposed the rot at City Hall and the construction industry regulators, who approve or allow establishments of such institutions that are essentially death traps. Precisely, Talent Academy was a disaster right from the beginning. An institution that caters for over 800 learners located in a dingy corridor of a residential area. A storied makeshift mabati structure housing so many learners was a tragedy in waiting. How such a setup was approved for learning, how such an establishment existed for years without the authorities noticing or anyone raising questions is baffling. Testimonies from surviving learners show that the structure was always a health and safety risk anytime. Further, learners at the school, like in all other parts of the city, were in class as early as 6 a.m. with little supervision, while the rules stipulate that they should report after 7 a.m. Yet, the whole tragedy is sobering reality to the fact that the city and other urban centers are in deep education crisis. Nairobi, for example, is suffering serious shortage of schools, and this is best captured in a task force report commissioned by the former Nairobi governor, Dr. Evans Kidero, back in 2014, which revealed the following: that the city authorities have not put up any new schools since the 1980s, despite phenomenal population growth in the capital. There are just about 205 public primary schools with a combined enrollment of about 200,000 in the city of 4 million people and with a school-going population of about 700,000. Contrastingly, there are more than 900 private and informal schools with a population of about 300,000. Overall, however, just about 60% of the eligible children are in those schools. This is a serious indictment on both the county and the national government. Despite the declaration of universal basic education, which means putting all children in schools, thousands are still languishing out there for reasons including lack of learning institutions. Now, this shortage has created a high demand for places, and the existing vacuum opened a floodgate for private entrepreneurs to set up the schools. Now, Precious Talent Academy is not an isolated case. It epitomizes the worst and the ugly in the education sector, where fortune seekers have landed with all sorts of institutions. Now, quick and drastic measures are required to stop the craze and create order in the education provision. We have to go back to the basics. First, Education Ministry must reclaim its authority, take charge of the sector, and second, policies and regulations exist about specifications for schools and classrooms, the size, the ventilation, equipment, and population. Now, inspections and inspectors must be intensified and rules must be enforced. And third, and most important, all individuals and agencies that approve the schools and hundreds others like it must be seized and punished. We demand quick action on the proprietors, those who sanctioned the schools, and ultimately a complete crackdown on all shady schools and even colleges across the country. In addition, the government and the counties must expand public schools. And tonight, we borrow the words of Barbara Bush, the former First Lady of the United States of America. You have to love your children unselfishly. That is hard, but it is the only way. My guest tonight is Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. My name is Ken Mijungu. Welcome to our program tonight. Join the conversation online as always. The hashtag is Sidebar. At NTV Kenya, at Ken Mijungu. Sidebar begins right now.
The general breakdown of our moral fabric is affecting all of us. Government or private sector needs to know the future is with the youth. They are watching us. And I think as a country, we're not doing well because we are not setting a good example. The media has an important role to play. There must be programs that are selected carefully, that are appropriate for their age. Let us self-regulate. We need films and media content that encourage the restoration of our moral values. If the media is the watchdog of society, who watches over the watchdog?
This is where the real conversation happens.
Right, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, welcome to our program tonight.
Thank you, Ken.
And of course, we can't begin the show without talking about the tragedy that happened yesterday. You're a parent, and we all know how it feels. Children woke up yesterday. They went to school very early. Unfortunately, they were not able to go back, 8 of them. And we ran a story today of a family that it's even difficult to explain to the siblings. One family had to lie and say, she's in the hospital. Very unfortunate. Your reflections?
I mean, it's painful. Let me first of all condole those families. May those little angels rest in eternal peace. May God give strength to the families of the bereaved. And let's hope that this time round, it will not be another story. It will not be just another condolences. That our leaders who flocked the Precious Talent Academy, the words that were spoken, the measures taken, including the pronouncements by the Deputy President, by the Minister for Education, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor Magoa, and others, will be followed through. Because this is negligence. I mean, this is criminal negligence. These children didn't have to die. They died because we have lost our moral psyche and our moral fiber. We have lost it as a nation. We put money before lives. Nothing else matters. It is profits at all cost. We have commercialized education, commercialized everything. Yes. And it looks like we are a country on the brink of a moral crisis, a serious moral crisis.
We want to talk about the moral crisis, yes.
I hope we will not have to go the way of Rwanda for us to begin to respect values, to have a sense of right and wrong. There are so many parties, if you look even at your story, from the architects to the ministry officials who approved, to the parents who watched that, to the teachers. Yes. Kids complained that this building is shaking, and nothing was done. And I think we are all to blame. But I think for now, we can just pray that God will give peace and the strength to the parents and the relatives of those families to bear, and that this can be a wake-up call, that we are sitting on a time bomb where we have made money. You know the king, and nothing. Morals don't matter. It's business at all costs. It's profits at all costs. We must focus on where we are going wrong.
Well said, and indeed, let's hope the authorities take charge of this and the main business on this. Now that we're talking about schools, Dr. Mutua, let's begin from last week. There was a video that went viral about this, and when I'm talking about this, I want to know how low the society has sunk from where you sit. This child, you watched the video definitely. This child and the things she said, what does that tell you about how we have let our children loose and how we protect our children?
Ken, just before we come to that, I saw something on social media which I posted on my Facebook, and it's a statement attributed to, I think, Martin Luther King, but it has also been cited by other people. But it says, to destroy a nation, one does not require the use of atomic bombs or the use of long-range missiles. It only requires lowering the quality of education and allowing cheating in the examinations by the students. These are the results. Patients will die in the hands of doctors that are produced fraudulently.
Yes, that system.
Buildings will collapse in the hands of engineers and architects who are produced fraudulently. They were pushed to qualify for those courses ostensibly for prestige and to make money, but they were not, their heart was not in it, and they never qualified. Money will be lost in the hands of economists and accountants who were produced fraudulently. And this is the result of all these things, including the situation that you are talking about the young boy who sent a video with very unpalatable...
Probably 3-4 videos, not just one.
Yeah, not one. So it was not by mistake. The first one, you can say it is a mistake. When it's repeated, you wonder, is there a parent? Was there an adult? Is there anybody around that child? Or were we forsaken the most important segment and the most important asset of our nation, our children, and let them for, you know,
the world to raise them
for
on our
the
behalf.
world to raise them, for the dogs, ideally, because this is the most precious asset that we have. And when a child like that can repeatedly post that kind of material, it even begins to, it ceases to become a mistake on his part. It becomes a different story. Who is behind it? Who is recording? Who is sending these videos? And these are the kind of questions that we begin to ask, pointing
and it
fingers.
might just be another child recording the video.
Absolutely. In fact, in one of the videos, after the apology, there are two children, and they're using very palatable language. They must have been recorded by somebody, and even if they did a selfie or whatever, they recorded themselves. There's a fundamental question, because they must have recorded in the presence of some adults. Somebody must have seen
Could
this.
have seen them. But
what it is telling us
yes.
is that our children are on their own.
Yes.
That we have ceased to care about our children. And like you quoted about Barbara Bush, I think that cannot be said of us, that we do not love our children selflessly.
Yeah.
We don't love them enough to know that even if you work so hard and make money, but your child you cannot bring up your child in a responsible way to become a responsible citizen. Because if you can just nurture that and concentrate on that for the period between the time the child is born to the time they are 18 to become adults, and care for them, show them love and spare time. I know times are hard, and parents are out early in the morning. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to find money to pay school fees. The economy is not doing well, and we understand all these challenges. But what else matters if it's not our children?
Yes.
And so the focus must be on society, so that we take responsibility, because the breakdown of the moral fiber, the structures of the family that used to bring us up, that if my mom is not there, my grandmother is there, my uncle is there,
yes.
Society, the neighbor, and the child belonged to society.
But we can't blame the parents. Sometimes you don't know what our kids are doing. We
It's
don't know
true.
who they're meeting in schools.
Yes.
How do we now take it to the society or to the parent?
This thing has everything to do with the environment our children are growing up in.
Okay.
It has to do with exposure
Yes.
to bad content. That language is not something somebody, if you look at that,
I can't speak that language myself.
that boy,
Yes.
and he sounds so intelligent, but intelligent for the wrong reasons. I mean, the language, you can't use it as an adult. He must have been exposed continually to bad content. And that's why these are the things we are speaking about.
Yes.
That environment matters. But you see, Ken,
Content first, you mean the internet, you mean television,
the social media. You know,
Okay.
parents buy children, their
mobile
children
phones.
iPhones.
Yes.
They buy them PlayStations. They buy them computer games. They expose them to the TV, and they leave them alone with their house help. We don't have a conversation with them. What kind of content are they watching? What programs are they watching?
Okay.
What messages are there? Unless parents get back to the basic and have those conversations and find time to be with your children and to ask them questions, to know the kind of programs they are watching, unless parents monitor what their children are watching, we are sitting on that same place.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they are now faced with multiplicity of information channels, content channels, and they're inquisitive. And these content producers and the programs that are available for them are not suitable. We have all manner of content.
What would be your prescription? Let's go back to the child at home. What would be your prescription to the parents of that child? I don't buy my child a mobile phone. I don't expose them to television.
I think we need to look at the age.
Yes.
There's an age at which the child does not need a mobile phone. Obviously, for a child or for you to have a phone in Kenya, you need to have a SIM card. You need to register a SIM card.
With the parent registers with his name or her name.
Yes. So really, and that's why even in terms of regulation, we are not so intrusive and so keen on the internet or the iPhones, because an adult took responsibility, and we are hoping that when you are buying, then you'll be able to help your child to navigate. Because we don't want also to say don't access technology. We want our kids to have access to technology. It's a beautiful thing. The internet is beautiful, but we need them to be guided and nurtured. And parental guidance must play a key role if you're going to give them access to those gadgets.
So first prescription for you would be?
Is parental guidance.
Parental guidance.
Parental
But
guidance.
that's the ultimate.
Not denying them. Yes. It's not denying them the access to the internet. It's guiding them to know. Because if you tell them, to not to access internet, if you tell them never to,
they'll find a way out of it.
They'll find a way. So the best thing
yes.
is let them have access, but let's have a conversation. What are they watching? And let them have a sense of discipline. You see, you cannot have a child who neglects their homework to concentrate on the TV or to be on the social media throughout, or who goes to bed with their phones there and they're hiding, you know, in the blankets and watching stuff that you don't know, and nobody's monitoring. It is our duty. We owe them a duty of care.
As a parent.
As a parent,
yes.
As long as they are in our houses, it is our duty to tell them, listen, there are rules here. And we must apply those rules without fear or favor.
Okay.
Let me tell you, failure to use those rules, to apply them and enforce them, actually is neglecting the child and is failing to love them. You don't love a child when you allow them unfettered freedom, where they can do anything, they can talk any way they want, they can insult elders, they can misbehave before visitors, and you don't want to discipline them in the name of love. I think those are the basics that we need to go back to, that a child must be a child, they must respect elders, not just their parents, but any elder, and they must be told these things. And then religious institutions must come in. They are very critical, Ken. Religious institutions, let children go to Sunday school. Let them be taught the right doctrine. Let them be taught the fear of God and self-discipline. And let them read stories, because this is where those kind of interactions help to shape their values.
Daktari, I doubt if there's a parent who's watching who will deliberately put their child in that path. The problem is when the parent is not there.
Absolutely.
And that's the prescription
Absolutely.
I'm looking for.
You see, Ken, we're living at a time when the covenant family is no longer the main pillar, or has been given, you know, is taking a side back, as opposed to the modern family, which is single family, where most of the children that are being brought up in that kind of environment really do not even have the societal support structures of the extended family and other people who take responsibility. So the parent may not be there throughout. And the thing we need to emphasize is the child belongs to the community.
To the society.
The child belongs to the society.
Modern day challenges.
Yes.
You're here right now. This never used to happen.
Absolutely.
We work until late.
Yes.
The parents go to work.
But you see, I've just had dinner with my son.
Yes.
He's a candidate. You know, I knew how the day was. He was not feeling well in the morning. I was happy to see him strong. He came, finished his homework. At least it was a struggle, because I left the office, went home to prepare and come, but ideally, just to see whether I can have that moment. But I travel a lot. Yes. Probably I'm guilty as charged. I'm one of the people who are most upset because I travel a lot. My work is very involving, and it has been. But I brought up children under a very, very tight schedule. Yes. But yet, I had to still spare time when it matters to be with them. But thank God for my wife, who is a career educationist, and I think I'm blessed. Not many people have that privilege, where the mother has the know-how to be able to interact and to help the children, and so that I do not have to suffer a lot. But not every parent is like that. That's why we are saying
has that opportunity.
Exactly. Yes. That there must be other structures that we can use to support the child to grow up.
So the first prescription you've given me, Daktari, is guidance of the parents. The
Parental
second one
guidance.
is society has to face up to their responsibility.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's look at
and then other institutions.
Yes.
You know,
like the schools, like
institutions
the
of learning, religious institutions. Let our children be part of society. Let them grow up knowing that they belong, and they are held accountable by other children who are responsible, not gangsters and so on. We must find safe spaces for our children. Safe spaces in our houses, safe spaces in our schools, safe spaces online. We must find a way of having a conversation where you ask yourself, is my child safe? When they are navigating the internet, are they safe? Are they armed with the information and the knowledge to navigate those spaces?
The mainstream media. Yes. You have, this is a pet subject, the content of the mainstream media. You have a way of looking at it. I know it sometimes falls you out of favor with a lot of people. Yes. But you have an issue with the content. Do you think, or how much of the content that is on our television set contributes to this kind of behavior?
There is quite a lot that is not suitable. And I think we need to go back and say all of us must be loyal to the law. You know, every sector is governed by the law. In our sector, as media people, there is a principle called the Watershed period, between 5 in the morning to 10 in the evening. And it says within that period, programs of adult nature should not be aired. In fact, the whole principle is to encourage family-suitable content between 5 in the morning to 10 in the evening. It is expected that the challenges that we have just discussed will occur, where the parent may not be there, and we want our children to be safe when they are watching TV. Now, you are leaving your children at home. The parents are absent. They are busy at work. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to put food on the table, and the child has access to the radio, to the TV, to the internet, and the parent is not there. We expect that media houses can play their role and ensure that the watershed period is respected, and that programs that have scenes or language intended for adults are not aired during that period.
Does it happen?
It happens a lot.
No,
I mean, today,
yes.
Yeah, today, of course, they're responsible programming managers will ensure that they put the right thing. But there are radio stations that will play adult content. When you're taking your child to school, they're discussing sex.
Yes.
In very...
But you remember you have an option to switch to another channel.
But you see, that's the element of values that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
First, the law says that content should not air during the watershed period.
So that's where we begin.
Both on radio and
Yes.
on TV.
Yes.
Please don't air it. That's the law. So if we are saying politicians are doing wrong things, or other people are doing wrong things, we also need to look at the media and say, what is the problem? Why can't we follow the watershed period principle and ensure that we air content that is suitable for family viewing and listening during the day? So that when I'm driving my children to school, I don't have to be embarrassed because the wrong channel was on and some sex discussion came up, and my children are exposed to that kind of content. Because the principle behind content regulation, Ken, is to achieve two main things. One is to promote our culture, to ensure that content is speaking about our culture, moral values, and aspirations as a nation. Because every country has a culture. Every country has its own beliefs. And then the second important thing is to protect children from exposure to harmful content. That must be also the responsibility of the media. And we want to share in that. We don't want to rain terror on the media. We want to have a conversation and say, Ken, you are as responsible as I am, and can we do our part?
Okay.
Can every one of us do their part? Can the media stop airing unpalatable, vulgar, profane content during the day?
Okay.
And save our children, because like you've said, parents are busy. We must admit there's a challenge of the societal structures. So unless we bring content that is suitable. Okay. And that is a bad thing, Ken, that the bad fellows, and they are bad people. Life is about good and evil, and there are forces that are competing.
Yes.
The bad guys set the agenda, and they know how to poison the mind. Okay. And they set this agenda ahead of time. And they know Ken will be there, and the content that will be selling, they say content king and stuff like that. The thing is, that content comes from somewhere.
Yes.
So we have even foreign content now coming through over-the-top services, through the phones, social media, and so on, that our children are accessing. And as a parent, you may not be aware of it. There's a lot of illiteracy, media illiteracy among most parents. Okay. Actually, they think, this thing is just for calling and sending M-Pesa. There's a lot of other things. For parents, a lot of parents are not aware. So what we are doing also as the Kenya Film Classification Board, besides regulation and raising a national conversation, and Ken will agree with me, we have really tried to raise a national conversation. We do not arrest people or jail them unless really they have crossed the boundary. Yes. I think in my tenure as a CEO of Kenya Film Classification Board, we have only had 2 cases against brewers and this organization that represented Kenya breweries on the advertising of beer during the watershed, and then the film Rafiki. Yes. And in both of them, I think we have done very well in trying to uphold the rule of law by saying where we differ, let us go to court, because that's where we find a redress for complaints if we cannot agree on the interpretation of the law. So we are raising awareness. Also, we are trying to amend the law, Films and Stage Plays Act, to ensure that it reflects the realities of our time.
I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the exact steps you're taking, but I'm taking a short break. When we come back, we'll definitely be talking about that. Plus, the gray area in the media content, the content that is provided by the media. I'd really like to identify it, because when you spoke about embarrassment and driving your kids to school, I'm more thinking about it's more about your embarrassment than even the content. It's about, I have kids here. Why are you talking about this? So let's take a break. Back in a moment.
could be right there in front of you without you even knowing it. It's something unique, rich and rewarding, full of character, a bold expression of flavor like no other. Experience extraordinary. Guinness, made of more.
Ultimate is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
My friends and family are so excited because this is my first baby, and so am I. I really want to be the best mom, and that's why I can't wait to attend a baby bundle pregnancy and baby fair, where I will get to learn firsthand from experts and other moms.
Come to the Baby Banda Fair at the Sari from 4th to 6th of October 2019.
Mama, how can I be a champion, Mama?
Well, you've got to be like a geisha ball. Staying strong and going so far.
Be strong and last long.
Like geisha.
Where are we headed as a country?
Every time we make a step forward, we do two backwards.
Any fool with huge amounts of money can be president of this country. It is no longer about service.
Why can't we move these people out and find somebody who can make the right decision for the country?
Your experts, you can tell me.
We have to change the way we arrive at our leaders. We have to.
Organized crime, terrorism, and corruption, they're really siblings.
We don't need 10 cases. We just need 2 cases done properly, and it will serve a lesson.
This can only be found if I prosecute what I have claimed, bring the evidence, and say this man is guilty.
AM Live, every weekday morning on NTV.
Roll camera and action!
Ukifungua hapa
mara business mara transaction mimi si vitu sielewi,
lakini kuwachunguza lazima bwana yako lazima ajue.
Hebu si ni karatasi tu. Sio dola ni karatasi. Ama unataka niwaambie vile ulinipatia gigi.
T-shirt ni nani?
T-shirt ulikuwa unavaa ile time ulikuwa unalikati, hata ukinikati ulikuwa umevaa t-shirt.
Hautoki hapa.
Unajua sitaka kujianza piga.
Inge ndo unonongelelea.
Mimi tunakoja hapa ni breakfast ni mahofu yangu.
Why are you so extravagant?
Yeah.
Okash is the quickest and easiest way to request short-term loans from your mobile phone whenever you need them. You can borrow up to 50,000 Kenya shillings in one day and choose between a 15 or 29-day term to repay it. Download Okash today from Google Play Store, enjoying the Okash experience.
The unexpected can come in the form of fire, floods, or even burglars. Prepare for the unexpected. Protect your assets with home insurance. This message is brought to you by the Association of Kenya Insurers.
And we are back on Sidebar. My guest tonight is Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, the CEO, KFCB. And Dr., let's just go back to what we were speaking about. I know you want to talk about the amending the laws.
Yes.
And my concern is when you spoke about what the media is giving out there, a lot of people are saying, but you have the option, which I also said, you have the option to change the channel or not. But it also sounds like the parents, not only you, but the parents with their kids in the cars are more embarrassed about what is being said than about the content, because otherwise, if the kids are not in the car, you'd be okay with it, or you wouldn't mind, or you wouldn't be embarrassed as much.
Yes, I may not, but you see the principle applies whether I'm there or not. The thing is, if it says during the watershed period, do not air programs or short programs that have vulgar language, that are promoting drugs or something, or with scenes or language intended for adults, let's just follow that. Because I'm embarrassed because I'm with my kids. When they're alone, they could be enjoying it. So let's create safe spaces. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And all of us be responsible.
Let's be intentional about it.
Sex programs, pornography, stuff that is meant for adults. Let's keep it out of the watershed period so that our kids grow up with moral uprightness and a sense of responsibility. They will get to 18 and they will start exploring the world and discovering. We need to have a conversation. If you're introducing your kids to sex, let it not be introduced by the radio or by the TV. Let, as a parent, be that be by responsibility, or if they're learning biology in school, but let my kids not be introduced to that subject by the radio or by the TV. That's what we are saying. So that the kids are safe. And we create safe spaces in the event that some of these places where our kids are growing up in, there's a bar next to the house where they're staying. They get into a school bus and the radio is on, and the driver probably is not even aware he has been overworked. And all manner of things are taking place. And even if they're aware they don't care about, they like that kind of music. And what we are saying is, please let us take the responsibility, all of us. Unless we say it's our responsibility, if you leave it to the government will not police your house and police every car and every place. The government is limited to how much. Because again, also, Ken, we want to protect freedom of expression and freedom of choice for the adults, but we want our children to be safe. So that we keep a clear line between freedom of expression and responsible media and child-suitable programs. Let us stick to the law.
Okay. And sticking to the law, you have been accused several times of going out of the law, going out of your responsibility. And I can give you several cases in point. My latest is the case where you decided that, these two songs, Tetema and the other one, should not be played in public. So people are thinking, why? It's beyond your mandate. It's ultra vires.
Why is it beyond our mandate? It's strictly within the law. We regulate film and broadcast content. And we said for those songs, they are coded, yes. It took time because you've got to analyze the lyrics. You've got to have conversations with the Communications Authority of Kenya. But Wamlambez has a meaning, and we know what it means. Wamnyonyes, we know what it means. These are derivatives from sexual slangs and the language that is not suitable for children. They can't be shouting in a function of children, Wamlambez. And we are saying, Ken, look, we are upholding the principle of protecting children from exposure to harmful content. We are not saying that adults cannot consume that kind of content, but we are saying, for example, Ken, beer is not illegal in Kenya, and you know that. Cigarettes are not illegal. But you don't provide beer in a school compound or in a school event where there are children. We all have the responsibility to say, we will go and do that after. No, I've never seen a school function where kids have beer. Yes, yeah. Not because it's illegal, but that is not the environment. We are saying in the same manner, if you do a song that has those sexual innuendos, then you know it is for adults. It's not for children. Don't take it to school. And our job was to say, restrict it to the places where children are not likely to frequent. Those are bars and clubs.
Yes.
And because why we did that is in respect to stage performance. The law that forms or establishes KFCB is called Films and Stage Plays. The element of films is what we have discussed, TV programs, films and movies and so on. But the stage plays element is about performances in public places. It's about drama. And so we were saying in the stage plays, you cannot apply Watershed because a stage play will happen wherever it happens, whenever. And when it happens, then you need to only apply one rule. It's either suitable for children or it's not. And we say these songs are not suitable.
Are not suitable.
Yeah.
All right. That's very sound, and I really understand you. But let me take you back to 2016 when you banned the poster that was circulating on sex parties. That was not a performance in public.
Project X.
Yes.
If you remember the statement we issued, and we collaborated with the police. In fact, the police were the first to issue the statement.
Yes.
Then second, Senator Isaac Mwaura. And we were the third. Because like I've told you, we take time. We don't just rush. We consult with the police. And by the time I reached that decision, I've also been given a brief by the classification and examination department at Kenya Film Classification Board, because they're experts there. And the beauty of it, the guys who examine and classify films at KFCB are not employees of KFCB. The law allows that we co-opt members of the public. These are young lawyers. These are, but it's basically both young and old. It's male and female. It's people bringing different expertise from different academic backgrounds. They're the ones who rate. So when an issue is raised, we give them, and they look at the content, and we empanel an odd number. So we say 3 guys to look at a film and give us, so that if 2 of them vote this way, then we know they carry the day. And where they tie, or where there is actually a major difference, one person could have lost, but they have a fundamental issue on the rating of that content, like it was in the case of Rafiki. Then you put another panel. If a matter is so controversial, you see there's somebody here who is so animated and so committed to push the agenda. So what we do is we allow members of the public co-opted to the examination and classification. They are called film examiners, who are not employees of KFCB. They come, examine, give us the verdict, and go.
Take me back to the poster. If the poster was not leaked, yes, if it was not leaked, no one would know. That
poster, yes, first of all, was announcing what we are saying. If you look at our statement, we said clearly we have information that there will be filming. And in fact, some of the guys wanted to film. They were going to do very dangerous things to those children. And child pornography is illegal.
Yes.
They were saying, if you remember, the poster was advertising, yes, you will not in a very
go
good
back
way.
Home a virgin.
You don't go back a virgin, yes, come without all this, yes, come with your drugs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And there was going to be filming. And when kids are filmed in those compromising positions, these are kids, this party was going to be in Ikeleleshwa. These parties happen in living suburbs of the city. And they film, and some of those characters use those films to blackmail the kids. You find a kid stealing money from their parent, and you don't know where the money is going, or a kid is getting depressed. Kumbe, they were filmed, and now they're being told, we'll show this to your father.
Yes.
So if you don't bring your father in Mdozi, nenda umwambia later, find a way, get some money. And so this information, we shared with the police. Senator Mwaura was the first to go to town with that story. We got the police to issue the first statement, and then as classification board, we issued the statement on Project X. Now, what was going to happen is what this kid has done. They are recording themselves, where they are finding it fun, to record themselves, doing crazy things, having wild parties, and sometimes they are intoxicated and they do not know what they are doing. When they sober up, it leads to depression. They are being introduced to crime. You don't know what happened that time when they were intoxicated. And because there are people opening their houses or living in those living suburbs, allowing access for this kind of children to bring their friends to this kind of parties, we said it should not happen. Okay. To the extent, Ken, where we saved one life, I think it was good that we took that decision. And we are going to take those kind of decisions. There are many that we take. You remember the 200 children that were found in a house in Langata?
Yes.
Belonging to a Sudanese lady. She was completely unaware. But those kids were taking beer in that house of a foreigner, and we got all of them to a police station.
Okay.
And they were picked by their parents.
Okay.
I think as a responsible organization, Ken, this is what we do.
That's exactly you do.
We say this. The rating of content is the easiest of jobs. Just putting gender exhibition, parental guidance, not suitable for this, that's the technical aspect. But the rationale behind content classification is to ensure that content does not impair the moral judgment of children. And we are like the traffic police. The traffic policeman does not make cars for you. What they do is they want smooth flow of vehicles. Come with your vehicle, whether it's a lorry, as long as you're on the road, it's the traffic police to say this one should not be here at this time. So that, and then if you veer off or interfere with one another, what we are saying in the flow of content, we are not going to allow our children to be interfered with, to have them exposed, to have them exposed to harmful content, and it's our duty. So we don't just rate technically and go home.
Okay.
No, we are creating a conversation, and I think it's very important with the parents.
I take you back again to Project X,
yes,
because I want to talk about some of the things you've done that are really good in the eye of the society, but they've gotten you into trouble.
Yes.
Project X, you are preempted. Someone has just sent me the poster. Mm-hmm. There was nowhere they said they're going to film. You are preempting what was going to happen.
Ken, we have information. We do what they call inspections,
random
inspections.
There's information that came to you. It wasn't indicated in the poster.
No, it was not indicated in the poster.
I think that's fair enough.
And we didn't want to take chances.
Yes,
that's fair enough. In fact, a lot of people are asking initially, what is Mutua's role in this?
This is just exactly.
Yeah. But again, remember, the law that we enforce is called Films and Stage Plays Act Cap 222. When people meet and they announce they're going to have a party and they are going to be dancing, and they are children, they need to be watched. And the law that applies, just the same way we applied for Ken Olomide.
Yes.
I mean, for Kofi Olomide.
Yes.
We have applied it in so many other areas. It's called stage plays.
Okay.
And we are actually now contemplating applying it in places that we never thought before.
Okay.
Because there are places that we preserve as sacrosanct, because they are places of worship. So the stage play element does not apply.
Okay.
But when people turn the churches into drama, when people, deliberately decide it's no longer worship, we are going to have theatrics and drama for recording, for purposes of becoming fame, then it begins...
For the purpose of trending.
Yeah, it begins to open the conversation. This is no longer worship.
Yes.
There's another agenda going on.
And
So
it becomes
a stage place.
It becomes
public performance.
I'll talk about that specifically. But let me take you to... I have to take a quick break, but let me take you to one more that also put you in a lot of trouble apart from Project X. The time you spoke about the musician Akode. I mean...
Akode has since reformed.
Yes.
She looks beautiful. Yeah,
but it also got you because they were asking, must you venture that far?
But it's called stage plays. You see, Ken, if you're performing in your house, we will not come in. The moment you bring your performance to the public, the government regulates the public space.
Okay.
So even what we were talking about, Pastor Nganga, we have no business getting into the church. But when those theatrics come to the public space, then we need to have a conversation, because the next thing that you're going to see, people will be eating grass and they will die. There will be a health issue. So government regulates the public space. It's only that in places of worship, we say no, that's a no-go. And that's why I was sounding the warning. I fired the warning shot and said, please limit the nature of drama and the theatrics, because you're inviting government regulation. Because Ken, if we were told people were eating grass or snakes in the name of some miracle healing or something, seriously,
like the pastor who gave jig to the congregation.
You think the government and the minister of health will say it's a place of worship?
Okay.
No, you're inviting government regulation. This is what we are saying. Let the churches, because they have their own institutions, then have a conversation to say how far can you go. And every sector of society has regulation. Now, what happened to Akode? If Akode was performing in our own house or in our compound,
you would not care.
I wouldn't care.
My concern,
but when it comes to a public place,
yes.
it's our duty to protect and regulate the public.
My concern is, as you regulate and protect the public space, the language that you use, you call it demonic to the core. You remember the language?
Yes.
Does that concern you as a leader of your stature? Does that concern you, even the language that you use to talk about what you say?
Is anything that is not accurate in what I say?
Demonic. Demonic. You say demonic. Yes.
If Ken, you undressed here and you walked naked, or you ran your program naked,
God forbid.
I think either I'll say you're possessed.
Yes.
But forget about that. That's an issue that we have resolved. I'm very happy that she has done a lot since. In fact, and let us not dwell on the negatives.
Okay.
There are great things that people do, and I think it would not be even fair to Akode having reformed or done the tremendous things she has done for us to dwell on that.
She was in Parliament the other day with a miniskirt. She had to be given a lasso to cover herself up.
Frankly speaking, other than the code or the code that governs
Parliament,
you would have no issues.
All right.
No, have no issues. She's a performer. She's a superstar.
And so she has to look good.
And she has to look good. She said her legs are the ones that were longer than the skirt. And I think I found funny. Ideally, other than the code.
Yes.
So if it
is Parliament, you have to be
but otherwise no issues with
all right, Daktari, we're taking the last break. We'll not take a break after this. When we come back, I'd like to talk about two other issues before we talk about the amendment that you're proposing as KFCB.
Yes.
All right, let's take a break on Sidebar. Keep your comments coming at Ken Mijungu, at Ezekiel Mutua, right?
Absolutely.
At NTV Kenya, and the hashtag, as always, is Sidebar. But I see another hashtag that has been trending throughout the day. Let me read this hashtag. The other hashtag that has been trending, hashtag Ezekiel Mutua on Sidebar. So tweet to the two. We'll be sampling some of them. Stay with us.
Standard Investment Bank Limited is licensed and regulated by the Capital Markets Authority as the first online forex trading money manager. Invest with Mansa X today, Kenya's first and only regulated online forex trading money manager.
Extraordinary could be right there in front of you, without you even knowing it. It's something unique, rich and rewarding, full of character. A bold expression of flavor, like no other. Experience extraordinary. Guinness, made of more.
In a country of over 200 million people, finding suitable and affordable housing can be quite a challenge. I am in Lagos, Nigeria to have a first-hand experience of what would be rented space while house hunting.
As a trainer, you have to think as a host, so that I know when they need to exercise, when they need to eat, when they need to be washed, when they need to be in a boma.
There's more to Zambia than just copper mining. Small businesses are key drivers of economic growth the world over. And here, it's no different. So I'm here to meet entrepreneurs who are finding creative ways of doing business.
Theatre giants Heartstrings Entertainment is back with another rib-cracking hit comedy play, Cat and Mouse, at Nairobi Cinema, October Friday 4th at 7 p.m, Saturday 5th, Sunday 6th at 3:30 and 7 p.m. both days. Charges $699. Buy one get one free for the show on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. show. Food and drinks will be available, and Nasisi Band will be live before the show on Friday 4th. For reservations, call 0718 or 0722 745541. Cat and Mouse is a Heartstrings Entertainment wildly funny comedy play by the man himself, Sammy Mwangi.
It's educative, it's thrilling, it's inspiring. Watch the very best of Form 3 science students compete for 2.5 million Kenya shillings worth of university scholarships and the bragging right as the best STEM student on InterSwitch Spark National Science Competition Kenya 1.0. Catch InterSwitch Spark Kenya 1.0 on NTV. InterSwitch Spark Kenya is switched on by InterSwitch. Transaction solutions you can depend on.
The unexpected can come in the form of fire, floods, or even burglars. Prepare for the unexpected. Protect your assets with home insurance. This message is brought to you by the Association of Kenya Insurers.
All right, so we are back with Sidebar. Dr. Ezekiel Mutua with me in studio, talking about the issues of the society, how else we can ensure that we have a safe society and a safe public space for everyone. And just before we go to the next discussion, because I really want to talk about something you spoke about in Mombasa, Apostle, or is it Pastor Nganga? And that is also somewhere people are saying you're venturing too far with your mandate. But before I talk about that, I'm reminded of one thing you did a couple of years back, the Coca-Cola advert, and your reason at that time was it violates family values.
Incidentally, that Coca-Cola advert is a classic example of corporate responsibility because we had rated it PG. It had been submitted to us, we rated it PG. When it went to the market, the public reacted differently because of that small element of kissing.
Yes.
Kenya is very conservative, by the way. So when they reacted, we were really lost as to the cause of action because when I talked to our legal department, they told me we rated it PG, meaning it's suitable for children, and therefore we cannot raise a case against Coca-Cola.
Yes.
But we called them and told them the people are complaining, and they said, "Can you send us the complaints?"
Because of a kiss?
Yes, it was that small element.
But you know, people marry in church, you kiss your brides every single day.
But the context was different.
Yes.
The context was different. Like I've told you, Kenyans are conservative. Some of the things that we do, including even this one that you are raising about the pastor,
yes.
It's not us. Okay. We've been tagged from the first video. I issued
that the pastor put out?
You remember the first video where he had an issue with a pastor in his church?
Yes.
If you look at the conversation there, we were tagged on everything, and we got even letters asking us, why are you allowing that? Because like I've told you.
From who?
There's only from members of the public, and those are the guys we exist for. I have told you, the law that we enforce is called fumes and stench place.
Yes.
Stench place include even those performances in the churches, but in places of worship, as a matter of principle, we don't go there. But now when things happen where bad language has been used in a public space, because now when it moves from the liturgical precincts and the regulation and moves to drama where you can do untoward things and you can say very crazy things, then we are invited to look at it. So by the time I was leaving the office, we had a flurry of complaints. And I said, let us not use one moment of madness, that's what I called it, to judge all the bishops and all the churches. Even Pastor Nganga himself, you can't judge him on the basis of one clip. I think we need to respect churches and the men of God. But, like I've said, that law could apply where people go outside the bounds of the church and the regulation that govern places of worship, and they bring drama, because we will not allow anyone to feed people with poison in the church. And they say it is Holy Communion. And you say the minister of health will not come in. But the kind of unpalatable or controversial behavior or drama that we are seeing is stage performance. Because the moment it goes beyond the dignity that you associate with the men of God. And it's embarrassing. I've talked to a lot of bishops and they're saying, thank you, thank God you spoke. Because we have an issue.
Why couldn't they speak themselves?
You know, it's because a lot of churches right now, they are not under this umbrella association.
Yes,
we have
so
the NCCK, we have Evangelical Alliance, and others, but they are people like Pastor Nganga who may not necessarily belong there. And can you choose to go to Pastor Nganga? So there's also the responsibility of the members, and then he has his own rules. But what I'm saying is, it is still a public space. You don't go there.
Do you think you can manage to regulate what happens in churches that time?
I don't even want to. I don't
then
want
why
to
are you
contemplate
there? Why are you
Because
venturing
we are
there?
sending a warning that just stick to the rules. Because there's only one law that I can apply. There's only one law.
Stage
other than
plays.
now, stage plays, because
Stage
that's what
plays.
it becomes. So if you go there and do drama in the presence of children, or you say people can have sex in church, which other law will you apply? You can only say this is...
But traditionally, the law does not concern itself with the things they cannot enforce.
But we can enforce. It's only that as
How
a
would
matter
you
of principle.
enforce if there were no video recordings, if people did not come out and say
Absolutely. That's why we come in. When there are no video recording, it's not our business. It will become the Minister of Interior and the coordination of government and the police and security agencies. But when there is a recording, it is only KFCB and Communications Authority of Kenya. Communications Authority of Kenya fined him 1 million for exposing the breast of a woman.
And another 500,000.
And now we are the ones who are recommending more because we are saying we are seeing other clips that we're investigating, and we'll send them to CA if we find that he has not learned any lesson. You know, a warning from CA will attract, just a warning, will attract, I think, about 500,000. So what we are saying is, why are you inviting government to regulate the churches? Like the media, these are sensitive areas where I wish there was self-regulation. So our call was just a warning shot to say, this drama may look popular. You might trend, you might look popular, you might even attract more crazy people who will come to the church because they just want drama on Sunday. People are bored. They don't want, those boring services. They want a crazy guy who will play the guitar, sing all manner of things. But now when he extends it to the bounds where there's no difference between a disco...
Which one was worse for you? Which one? Among the 4 incidents that have been recorded?
Mine was the use of language. I've seen the language where it is clear this is unpalatable.
Rubbish, takataka.
Rubbish, takataka. But there's another one even where he's calling people dogs. In fact, I've seen one where they're trying to put my name. It's not me. I saw it before I issued my statement. But look, I know Pastor Nganga. He has ministered to me. I have conversations with people that know him, and we share friends. And I have nothing against him. I think, first of all, we must indicate that let's respect the churches and religious institutions, and let us allow the institutions that govern religious institutions to apply self-regulation and apply their own rules and have a conversation. Now, where the churches that are owned by individuals and they do those kind of things, I can tell you government will come in. Because we have seen in South Africa people eating grass.
People coming in coughing.
People, all manner of things.
Drama?
That will not be allowed
in Nigeria.
Here. I can tell you. And I know we don't want to venture.
How do you say that will not be allowed here, and we have preachers taking people who are not cripples and saying that they've healed them? How do we...
No, that's a matter between you and the healer. Between the healed and the healer.
But it's the same stage play. That's the same thing.
Yes, but I know miracles happen. I mean, miracles happen. Miracles happen.
Where is
So that's why I'm saying it's an area you don't want to go.
Okay, because traditionally, again, Daktari, the church is very respected. The people of God are very respected.
I'm a product of the church myself, so it's not an area I want to go. But being one of their own...
Do you feel a little difficult even trying to caution them? Do you feel that difficulty?
I am the right person to caution.
Yes.
Because I'm a product of the church. I'm brought up by bishops who are known. I mean, I'm owned by so many people who have contributed and planted in my life, and I respect them. And I think we can never, even with these small issues that we're dealing with, dismiss the role of religious leaders and places of worship and the role they play in modern society. Let me tell you, with all the weaknesses the church and the religious leaders have, if you are to remove them from society, we have madness that you have never seen. That's why we are saying behave, live to the calling, be a model, a role model, and do not allow yourself to become an object of satire and sarcasm. Don't be an object of drama and the funny comments. Respect yourself. You know, there are elements of those clips that you are seeing. And there's so many. You know, it's not one. You know that sometimes you can be caught in a moment of madness. And that's why the first clip I said, don't judge a man of God or a servant or a religious leader with one incident.
Do you think it's deliberate what he does?
I think it's now deliberate. Obviously, it's deliberate. And I'm not the only one who is watching. We have alerted the DCI. We have alerted CA. You saw CA has acted. We are acting. DCI is acting. Why are we inviting the government to come? Because it's only when something has gone totally out of bounds. But more importantly than us talking, I've reached out to pastors who know Pastor Nganga. I've reached out to friends. In fact, I'm looking for him myself just to tell him, you know, man of God, you didn't come to where you are because of these theatrics. And these theatrics don't last. They will not keep you for long. Just be the man of God that you're supposed to be. And I hope he can listen to those kind of conversations. Ken, why I'm raising this, you see, the moment we begin to defy processes and order in church, in the media, in the family, we are inviting a culture of anything goes, and that is what is destroying us. Then you wonder why we have all this corruption, why our kids are dying in buildings that were approved by someone.
Yes.
It begins
Those
by
kids probably are in some good
by
school
people
somewhere.
saying, you know, get out of my space. I'm a pastor. I can do what I want. This is my church. You don't. When you come to the public space, everybody, including religious institutions, they must know that they are held accountable. Either by their own religious associations or by the government. Because like I said, if a pastor came with a gun and was shooting members, seriously, we
have an incident in Nigeria that they did that. They said, because you're protected by the blood, I'll shoot you and it will not penetrate.
You will not die.
And the guy died.
We must avoid getting there. And theatrics like what we are witnessing now in that church, then are inviting, and they will progress. You see?
So you believe
that kind of
you're
comedy,
able to have KFCB to put some sense into such.
You see, we're also limited to the law. We also have to act within the law. There are things that are not ours. There are things that we are only raising conversation. Because we only came in because he started recording. Otherwise, and
saying it's going to trend.
Yeah, and it's saying it. So this is film. You know, the moment there is audiovisual, because we regulate audiovisual. But I have told you, we are kept away from religious institutions. Religious institutions must not be regulated by the government. They have their own associations. We are only saying when they go out of the bounds, we'll call them out, and we're asking the religious associations to rein in them and ensure that there is order in the church.
All right. Aside from that, and this is something that happened a while ago, during the Nation Media Group Leaders Forum, you said we need to transition from the idea of holding papers and waiting for job interviews, creating the jobs ourselves. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm bringing this. And you remember what the former CJ said?
Yeah, Willie Mutunga.
He called you Mjuaji.
Willie Mutunga is funny. I think he's aging gracefully. Yes. He's still having childish fun, you know, for lack of a better word, because that was uncalled for.
Yes.
You know, I've seen people like those who think it's funny, but the job I do is not easy. And I also have a family, and I hope he can respect me the way we respect him. He came to the bar, he became our Chief Justice wearing something on his ears, and we defended him. We say that is his freedom. I think it is the height of hypocrisy for a man holding a position like that, even to throw those kind of comments. Much as he has freedom of information, it was irresponsible. And I hope he stops now, because I've seen every time I tweet, he comes in, even when we banned Wamulambez, we restricted Wamulambez.
He spoke about it.
I think he finds me an easy spot. But the thing is, I'm doing a serious job. Really get serious. I don't know whether he has a family. He would respect me for doing the things I'm doing, and respect KFCB for helping our children not to be exposed to bad content. So the moment you bring those kind of comments that demean or mock the institutions of government, I think we are getting out of bounds. And then that's what I'm saying, the recklessness that, permeates the society, where we say even leaders. I'm a CEO. He was the Chief Justice. I cannot utter a bad word against a Chief Justice. Okay. He's holding a public office. Yes. Why is he finding it easy to be satirical and to be sarcastic about the work that we do?
The reason why I brought this in, because I want to discuss shortly about leaders behaving badly. Yes. The exchange that we see on social media. So before I go there, I thought I would bring yours first, because that was it. Yes.
But I hope we has had me. Because it's a Kamba order. We don't want to... but what I'm saying is the job. Yes. Like that statement, in fact, if you remember, it is Mark Masai who brought it, and it was a clip that had been aired by Professor Magoa. No, it was said by the CS for Education. Yes. So they asked us, do you support? And I said, in the creative economy, that's where the future is. I do not need to have a degree. So don't wait to look for a job. Yes. Create a job. Because there are so many opportunities. So if you are talented, beside the paper that you are holding, let the paper help you to navigate business, to draw contracts. But ideally, besides the white-collar jobs, there is so much. And if you look at the richest people in the world today, Ken, they are in the knowledge economy. Yes. They are in the creative economy. Yes. They are in sports. They are in talent ventures. So there was nothing untoward with what I said. Okay. Yeah. And I'm the expert there, not Willie.
Okay. Okay. He's an expert in law. All right. So I want to bring the others, but also your exchange with David Ndei. You know, when Obama
we forgave each other, we are now friends.
You've already forgiven him.
Oh yeah, publicly
in the public space.
Yeah, absolutely, because he supports homosexuality and it's illegal. You see, when scholars bend that law and bring those kind of debates on an issue as clear as daylight, homosexuality is illegal in Kenya. In fact, when Dee was taking on me, the ruling that was given by the judiciary had not been given. There were two rulings in Botswana and in Kenya going on simultaneously. Yes. And there was a lot of hype by the LGBT that wants to introduce that agenda here. In Kenya, homosexuality is illegal. But because we respect your privacy, do it in your house. We will not come to...
And don't let us know about it.
Don't bring it to the public space, because we will regulate you and we will tell you it's illegal. So what we were saying is, homosexuality is illegal in Kenya. And the president spoke about it. Yes. As a public servant,
actually, a non-issue.
It's a non-issue. We can't even go there because it's a non-issue. The law, as they say, is very clear that homosexuality is illegal in Kenya. Okay. Marriage is a union between two people of the opposite gender. Okay. So let us not have cultures where even scholars want to introduce things that are against the law, because that's when we start losing respect for institutions of leadership.
Okay. Yeah. And you are widely traveled. You are widely traveled. Some of the things you talk about, some of the things you want to regulate. When you travel outside the country and you see them happening in plain sight. I was in a train in Netherlands sometimes, and a young couple just kissing from... Some of the things you want to regulate, and you travel a lot. More than
travel a lot.
What comes to your mind? Do you sometimes feel like, don't do this?
No, it doesn't bother me. Really? One day I went to speak in Google in San Francisco, and while the session was going on, I was hearing some noise that I didn't know. Some guys came and put posters there that this homophobic guy should leave, the place. And I didn't know, so I was being handled, with a lot of care, being shielded by my host. And later on, I learned actually they were protecting me. So I asked, what could they have done? And I was told they would have come and probably face you with a placard and tell you, Ezekiel, I'm gay, what are you going to do? And I was like, I would have wanted to engage those kind of people. So in the evening, when we went for dinner, there were some students who had come from Kentucky for the same session. And the two of them during the session, they say they were gay. Now, when the way the Google does it is fantastic, because we say instead of bringing hate on social media, you bring love. So what they do is they put a balloon and we pair up, Ken and Ezekiel, and then we hug each other until we break this balloon. And I picked the boy who was gay, and everybody was like, you're going to do this with him? I was like, he's my brother.
So you don't have a problem with them. You have a problem with doing it in a public space. Bringing this to the public
I'm just doing this because that's what the law requires of me.
And your morals also, not just
and
the law.
My morals. Yes. And it's also the right thing. Let me tell you.
Yes.
There's even a fundamental issue, both in terms of logic and in terms of our culture. First of all, we said homosexuality is illegal. Okay? If you get there, that's your own preference. So don't bring it to us. And don't sell it to us or to our children as a way of life. Number two, even in terms of development, Ken, how can you have sustainable development when you are depopulating? I saw a clip by Tony Blair where he was talking about the nations that are going to dominate even economically. And he talked about China, India, Japan, and others. And all of them, the baseline was population.
Okay.
Now, you want to depopulate. Some people are bringing that agenda here through NGOs who are promoting this kind of culture. And they're introducing it in textbooks. Some of them that are finding their space into the schools, they are glorifying homosexuality. And I'm not saying that subject cannot be discussed, but we cannot allow it to be taught in school as a way of life, because it's not. They're introducing it in films, and there are NGOs that have set foot in Nairobi and other places in this country who are promoting nothing but homosexuality. And there are people who know, there are government officials who know, they look the other way. By the time we know it, we'll have destroyed this country. That's how radicalization came in. Okay. Our kids were being paid some little money. Some people looked the other way, and look at where we are now with insecurity and the extreme violence that we are witnessing. We must act. I think I owe a duty to this country. Okay. While I'm the CEO of KFCB, and don't divorce my own values. They brought me to where I am, and I think those who interviewed me and gave me this job, they knew that those values matter, and I declared them as such. I follow the law. Okay. And where we have to go to court, look, Rafiki went to court, the producer of Rafiki. Yes. And when we were told by the court to allow it for screening for 7 days, we allowed. After that, we went back to the ban. We follow the law. But, I mean, Ken, why don't we allow what we believe in also to govern the kind of work that we do, if it's a good thing? Why do we want to demonize people who don't drink and glorify those who drink? Okay. Let's have a society where people do good things, are respected for what they do. Because until we begin to glorify honesty and hard work and values and say, Ken, you don't have to land here in a chopper for us to respect you and to salute you. If you are helping other people, like now that tragedy that took place, there are people who risk their lives to save those kids. Those are our heroes. And we need to begin to focus our cameras as media people on heroes in the villages, in religious places of worship, in the villages. People are doing great things, and they may not be able to find it to the NTV like I found tonight. I think we need to say values matter in society. Okay. And we need to glorify good deeds. And if there's a leader, unless I've broken the law, if I'm doing something good and I'm committed to it and I'm not breaking the law, I think we need to reason with, give me my space, I'll give you a space.
Great. Now that we've spoken about you, let's speak about just briefly on what's happening on social media with our leaders. We started by speaking about this child and the way they talk and how we bring up our children.
They're learning from us.
They're learning from us. That's the most unfortunate
we are bad
thing.
Manners.
But what can we do about it, especially leaders who behave badly on social media?
I think at some point, and there's a proposal now by CA, we must begin to ask ourselves, we have freedom, but are we responsible? Are we able to use the social media responsibly? Because like Bishop D.D. Jakes was saying, why can't we use social media to sell what we have, to sell our ideas, to sell our products, and not hate, and not what we hate? You see, we have so much bile, and I think there are people in this country who just think they are poor because you are rich, or they're doing badly because you're doing well, and there's such a disconnect between the rich and the poor. I think because of the way we behave, that the rich do not genuinely help others, and they cannot account for their wealth. So these guys are watching and wondering, nilikosea Mungu wapi? Because if we are growing up in the same environment and I'm becoming rich overnight.
But you know, some of those things you're saying is true. Because when you impoverish people for your own selfish gain,
they will become bitter.
They become bitter.
So it's a difficult subject to really discuss within a short time like this. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't pay to go on social media and use that platform instead of uplifting yourself from poverty by selling your ideas and your stuff and projecting the best part of you, you start hating and insulting people. I've seen guys, and I know some of them who have come back to look for jobs at KFCB, but when you look at their digital footprints, it's bad. Okay. And right now, employers are looking at those things. Yes. So I'm advising our young men.
That's the point of reference now, by the way.
Post.
Yes, because it will come back to haunt you.
Because it will come back to haunt you.
Exactly.
So somebody's hiding behind anonymity to insult others. But you see, they have seen it with the likes of Willie Mutunga. Yes. Because what it's showing, Ken, if I post something, if I live here, and then we are seeing exchanging, and people saw us, these are dots. Our kids think it's cool. It's what they call mchongwano in their parlance.
Yes.
You know? So what Will was trying to do or the likes, there's a way to differ without being
rude about it?
Yeah, rude about it.
Okay.
And I think we need to do what William Wilberforce said. He wanted to achieve two things: to abolish slave trade, but also to reform the manners of men. I think that's a mission I'm very passionate about. It's possible to reform our manners. Can we get to the basics where I can? Basic manners. But I came here and you have treated me well. When you send a poster that I was not happy with, you rectified. Ken, that's what decent people do. But if I came here and I feel harassed, you know, or you are using language that when I live here, even my family is sympathizing with me, you know, it's not fair. So this is the way decent people behave.
Okay.
Ask me questions, I answer, you give me time. This is decent. And I believe we are not beyond redemption.
Okay.
I have seen, for example, when flagged out to Mlambes, it's no longer playing in public places. I even singled out...
you just don't know it's playing.
No, it's not. Because if it's brought to our attention, look, by raising our profile and the position of KFCB as a regulator, by saying that there's a moral sheriff watching, I'm telling you we have information probably more than the police.
Okay.
You'll be shocked.
Okay.
People tell us, listen to radio this, listen to this. And I'm always on social media.
You actually have the power to regulate them.
Do you know that even people in Kilimani Moms, I see people tell, oh, so I see my notification, you know, you have mentioned in Kilimani Moms, and I see some of them, let Mutua see this, and you'll see, you know, so that we avail ourselves to be reached. We are not the kind of odd government where people don't even know there exists social media.
Do you know the good thing with KFCB?
Yes.
Actually, you bite. That's a good thing.
When
you say no, it's a no.
Well, let me tell you, Mlambes will not play in any school. If you hear it anywhere, Ken, or you get a report. And now we are, your program is very popular.
My colleague here, Caroline Karuki, just the other day, sent me a video during their school play day.
It was before.
And it was before.
Yes.
And she told me, Ken, look at what
it is
our
so
kids are
wrong.
listening
Have
to.
you watched the lyrics? Even that song, Tetema. You know the Embrace women were singing it. And we told them what it means. No, they have stopped.
Swahili is a very
deep... you know the lyrics, the tunes are so good.
Yes.
And sometimes we say, oh, don't forget about the lyrics. It's the tunes we like.
Tune, yes.
So tetema kama umepigwa short. What? Do you know the meaning? Have you just Google the lyrics?
I have.
The lyrics
heard
are
the song
so
several times.
pornographic.
It's a nice song.
Horrendous.
Yes.
But it's a nice song for adults.
Yes.
Listen
Out of
outside the
public
watershed period, but don't expose our kids to sing to their mother, Tetema.
Is it forgivable for politicians to behave badly and exchange words?
No, it's not. It's not.
Anwai
What
Guru,
Babo Wino did was very wrong.
And Ekuro Court. Even before I go to Anwai Guru, just the other day.
No, that's a decent intellectual difference.
Really, when you call the others a thief and this one calls you a failure, you are an architect of this, it's not decent.
They called each other
yes,
like that?
Ekuro Court said public thief called Anwai Guru. Anwai Guru said we know all the architects and the beneficiaries of the NYS.
Oh, no,
that's
unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I missed that one.
Yes.
I missed that one. But our classification people must have flagged it.
Yes. But the fact is, they're not the only ones, and I don't want to single
there are many. It's our culture.
Many politicians.
You see, I told you, there's the general malaise, the breakdown of our moral fabric, where leaders don't respect each other. It starts with us, how we relate.
Are you concerned about what Babu Wino said the other day?
Yes, and I called him out.
But
I said it was wrong.
Just out of this, in Luo, that's actually a say that is not even derogative.
Oh,
no. In the Luo culture. What he said, I'll just tell you that because I am Suba. But I'll tell you, in Luo culture, that is something, your mother will use it on you. It doesn't sound that bad.
We don't want to leave a national leader of Babu Wino's stature.
And I'm not telling him, I'm just telling you. Yes.
Obviously, we know.
Yes.
And we know, even him, he came back to say, look, I learned bad manners, you know, and that insulting kind of politics from Donald Trump, he was saying. He posted that. What we are saying is, I want our national leaders to know that they are also not setting the right example.
Because when they do those things and the kids are watching and we do it as news tomorrow the kids will do.
We are encouraging a culture of anything goes where we don't respect one another.
Look at demonstrations, for example. When our leaders demonstrate the way they do. And look at the kids the following day. I saw kids holding placards and marching.
Absolutely.
And doing the same things.
These things have influence.
Adults do. All right.
Before they say, Mangi watch, Mangi do.
Exactly.
Our kids are watching.
Before we end, because I want to talk about your amendments, but tell me something. There's a poster you put out. There's a picture of you put out on social media. And this picture, you said, this picture will one day be on a campaign poster somewhere. Were you serious you want to run?
No, Ken, really, I do not want to ever be seen like I'm using the position where I am for political.
But you did it yourself.
I'm very popular in my place, by the way, and I'm very popular with a lot of people, even this country.
Yes.
Do you know there can be a Trump effect? And do you know these moral issues we are discussing here? Watch my lips. There will be a very big agenda in the future. We are getting so bad that actually, and I pray that somebody will take responsibility, that until we sort out our moral values, we are going nowhere. You'll never fight corruption. So there's an agenda here to execute.
Okay.
And what I was saying is, if you to take me to a political seat, this is the future. And I think when I sent that thing, I was in Lagos. In fact, it was this thing, memories on Facebook. Just came and I thought it was a nice photo and I said I'll use it. So I was not serious. However, my future is in the hands of God. If to execute this agenda, I'll need to change.
Political seat.
Obviously, my family is very uncomfortable with politics. My wife reminds me every day that we are not cut for this. You are too good. You're not fit there. And let me tell you, and again, this you can quote me in the future, if it will require sacrificing my moral values, I will never go into politics. I will serve, I will retire early. Do you know I in a permanent position in the government, and I retired early 2 months ago. So when I finished my business, I had a job. I was seconded to FCB. But I took an early retirement because I don't want to hold to a position for the sake of safety, job safety. I want to deliver, and I'm paid by Kenyans for what I deliver. So I relinquished that position voluntarily. And then I want to work at KFCB, but when the time comes to make that decision, and it will call for me to sacrifice my moral values, be vulgar, be dirty, or do funny tricks to win a seat through immoral, count me out.
Because I was about to ask you, how do you know that your campaign managers will not be playing Wamlambes on the platform?
No, they won't. They won't. Let me tell you, not every politician is dirty. We are very clean politicians.
Like who? Give me one example.
Oh, there are many.
No, just one.
And don't judge people.
Just one.
Don't cast a stone.
No.
We all have mistakes and we are human and we fall. From the media to the politicians to the clergy. What we are saying is, it is the lesser evil. It's about dealing with the lesser evil. There may not be perfect human beings, and I don't think I'm one. But what I want to say is, hold me to account. And Ken, something the people don't know about me. This is a life I've lived for more than 40 years. I became a head boy when I was very young, and I've never looked back. Up to Form 6, I was the school captain and the school chairman in Tala High School. And my word was law in the school. I'm immortalized. When I was in the university, I've interacted with presidents globally. I've had dinner in White House, man. I mean, I've been there. It's not like this thing came with KFCB. In fact, when I went to KFCB, it was a demotion. Because I was leaving a job where I was almost a PS to go and become a CEO of a body that was not known. But I thought this body has a role to play
you've done
in
well
shaping
with
our
that.
future.
You've
Thank you. And I've been
going by the
not just by what you're saying.
Yes.
I've been rated 99 point something by SCAC, the body that rates government institutions. Government parastatals have been rated for 2 years in a role of 99 point something. And if you come to KFCB, you see the results. If you go to the field, we are doing things, and I hold my officers to account. They hold me to account. And the KFCB, we are building a culture. We even the newest recruit, the newest officer there, behaves like they've been at KFCB forever. So look, I believe it is possible for us to change. I think we can't give up on our country. We can't even give up on our leaders and our politicians and our religious leaders. All we are saying is, let us hold each other to account. Even in a family setting, I am partly and to a very large extent what I am today because I have a wife who holds me to account. I don't do what I want because I'm a CEO. My children ask me hard questions. And I believe I want to protect that space for them to hold me to account. Can we hold each other to account and be responsible and never thrive in the culture of anything goes where you feel like the freedom to insult even national leaders is heroism because we are teaching our kids to insult their teachers in school and to insult elders.
All right. We're out of time, but I have to give you an opportunity. You told me initially that there are changes that are coming at KCB.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially in the law. What are these and to what end? Well, have you seen gaps that you're seeking to fill?
Yes, Ken. I moved to KFCB in 2015, end of 2015. We had just done digital migration under the leadership of C.S. Matiang'i when I was the information secretary, he was the cabinet secretary. And then through the Minister of ICT, we pushed the digital migration, even against the wish of the media, of course. When I moved to KFCB, before, they were regulating just about 5 major TV stations. Now they are almost 100. And the technology is growing. We have moved from 3G to 4G. We are going to 5G. There are new technological advancement. and the channels of distributing content online. There is what we are calling content travelability, where content from other jurisdictions is coming to Kenya. And we think we cannot continue to regulate with a law that was established a long time ago when there was no digital migration. That switchover from analog to digital means that a lot of people are now drawn to digital media, and these digital platforms cannot be regulated the same way we are regulating the analog media. So we are proposing amendments to Cap 222 to ensure that we align ourselves continually with the Constitution of Kenya, so that this regulation is a balance between freedom of expression and responsibility of the media and filmmakers. But more importantly, because we want to address the issues of new technology and ensure that we have to speed, because technology changes rapidly. So we are proposing that amendment, and we are very happy yesterday, and a very good meeting with the members of parliament who are supporting us, members of our committee. Oh yeah, it's very popular. Yeah, I drive the agenda. What I want to do, it makes sense because I have nothing personal. I drive agenda that is going to help the country. And I think the reason, Ken, why I went to school at night to get my master's from the University of Nairobi and my PhD from Moi was so that I can also give sound advice and take sound decisions. So I'm not a quack. You know, I am a well, solid, grounded person, academically, with experience. I've worked here in this building for 9 years. So, and I was the best here. You guys voted me overwhelmingly because I was the best in 2001. I was elected by every journalist here. So ideally, I'm saying there's a sense in which I believe that change is based on sound grounds, and it will go through parliament. There's actually a lot of push, if you see, from members of parliament themselves, whose reputations are being destroyed, people's families are being destroyed through reckless media and reckless online distribution, including bloggers. And we want to look at it and say, where do we draw the line without undermining freedom of the media and freedom of expression to ensure that even bloggers become responsible? That conversation will now move us from the analog space and regulation to a situation where we can have a conversation.
It feels as though you want to really squeeze people. It feels, especially on social media.
Ideally, countries that have developed had to look at technology ahead of time. You see, like United Arab Emirates, I believe that's one of the most, in terms of economic growth, a country that is doing well. But you can't access pornography there. You cannot access some of the content that we access in the name of freedom. And at some point, we need to ask ourselves, do we want freedom? Do we want freedom for the sake of freedom? To demonstrate, shout at each other, insult each other when there is no responsibility. And let us balance so that you enjoy the freedom within a sense of responsibility, and we allow that. But then we say, for children or within certain parameters, this information cannot be availed online. Even if you look at the organizations like Coca-Cola, the one you're mentioning, when they do their online advertising, they look at the jurisdictions, because content regulation is not universal. It is jurisdiction specific. Every jurisdiction has its own laws. And look at Kenya, in terms of ITU regulation and the scope and how we are divided, because every region has its own dynamics that determine where you are. We are lumped together with the Asian countries and the Middle East because we are conservative naturally. Even the guy who is crawling out of a bar in the morning doesn't want their children to watch pornography. They want their children to grow up in a morally upright way. And so we are looking at our cultures because, let me tell you, Ken, what makes us Kenya is not because we are in a geographical region. It is people living in a geographical region with shared values, cultures, and beliefs. And those cultures must not be underrated in the name of technology or content travelability. We must still say, when the Janet Jackson indecent exposure happened in the US during the Super Bowl of 2008, I was there. And the Federal Communications Commission of the US fined the TV station so heavily for that wardrobe malfunction. It wouldn't have been an issue here with the KFCB, I can tell you. If that happens with your newscaster and the address store and it is accidental, I don't think I would have a framework to pursue them so rigorously. And then, and then our context is different. It's like we rate in context, because if you go to Turkana and a woman's breasts are, exposed, it's a different context. We rate in context. And I want to say every country, every community, every society has its own culture. If you don't respect those cultures, then you become slaves to other people. And somebody wrote and said, I think it's some guy called either Okiri or somebody, who said, if you want to poison the minds of a people, poison their stories. Start by interfering with the stories that they share, the content that they consume, particularly the impressionable minds like children. That's where the battle is. It's a battle of the mind. You are not going to win the war on corruption. You're not going to conquer crime. You're not going to win the war on the vices that we are witnessing in our society today until we go back to what stories do we share. How do they shape our values? And how do they shape the values of our children?
Great. Well said. I'd like to close this and do the last part, but I'll give you an opportunity to reflect on our cartoon of the week. Let's take a look at the cartoon of the week. Then it's related to the subject. Then you give me your brief comment. Then we can close the show. Let's take a look. Right, the cartoon. That's not the cartoon of the week. There is a mix-up on the cartoon of the week. It was actually, no, there's a mix-up. It's not that. That's not the cartoon of the week. But the cartoon of the week was basically about the children, about what happened, about the mistakes that have been made. So it's a mix-up. We don't have
Ken, let me give you my closing, my punchline, my shorting part.
Okay, go ahead.
Nations rise or fall on the basis of their moral values. If you look at the Asian tigers, we were at par with Singapore and so on. I know it's a tired story.
Yes.
But where Singapore is not where we are today. And I was very happy to see our president having a conversation with them. But they are moved to a point where they are a first world because they started by laying a moral foundation. And the founding fathers of those countries were very firm, almost dictatorial. I think in this country, we are getting into a place where we badly need some benevolent dictator. Rwanda is outgrowing us so fast and becoming the model in the region in terms of cleanliness. They are taking conventions, they are taking business from Kenya just because you don't do some things there. If you cause an accident on the roads in Kigali and you knock a tree, not a human being, you know the consequences. There are things you don't do there. Here we are allowing a culture of anything cause, and let me tell you, it's going to destroy not just our politics, not just our religion, not just our education, it's going to destroy our very being. And God forbid that we have to get to a tragedy like where Rwanda went with the genocide for us to wake up to the potential dangers that we are sitting on. Let us just reform. And it starts with me. I want to go home wondering, what can I do to become a better person and to serve this country better? How can I uphold integrity? And the integrity is what you do when no person is watching.
Exactly.
And those are the values we want to uphold.
All right. I have the cartoon. Let's take a look. I won't let you go without taking a look at this. That's the cartoon. Would you just put it behind me, Jackson, so that he's able to say it?
Yes, yes.
All right. Could we have it? That's exactly the cartoon. It's related to the children. It's something we have discussed.
That's a phone?
Yes, but that's a phone. That's the parent. And obviously the children, they are looking in the mirror, and that's exactly what they see, their children.
What are they seeing?
What they are. That's the reflection.
I told you monkeys see.
Monkey do. Exactly.
And unless the adults set a good example. You see, the parents who come drunk like a, like a kite, high like a kite in their houses with beer, and they want to smoke there in the presence of their children and drink themselves silly.
This is exactly what will happen.
Those are the cartoons.
All right.
That's how your children will be. Pray that they don't have to imitate you.
Great. All right. Before we do the final part of the show, today I told you that we are going to be introducing a new segment on the show, and this segment is called, we'll call it Who Said What. Can we take a look at that?
Karibu miezi 6 imepita, iko watu walileta mswada bunge ya fitina ambayo walikuwa wameleta kuhusu CS Matiang'i. Ati wanataka kusema sijui mambo gani, wakaleta katika Senate. Na siku hiyo nilipata simu kali sana. Simu hiyo nilipigiwa na Deputy President William Ruto. Akanisamon kwa ofisi yake. Mimi kufika nikapata Deputy President na huyu CS Matiang'i yako hapa. Deputy President akaniambia mambo gani hiyo inaendelea, nikamwambia mkubwa, hiyo ni fitina ya Senator wa Homa Bay, watu wa ODM na mambo kama hiyo. Tulipofika bunge, mimi nilitoa wajumbe wote wa Jubilee nje, hiyo mswada ikaanguka chini.
Unajua mimi, I was raised by Christian parents. I don't lie. You have lied to my people here that you called me to a meeting with a Deputy President. I have never sat in that kind of meeting. Ekiagara, omaete, omochoni na buo mabando bakora taiga. Bacha ko ubaraji, bacha ko maina bato baito, ona waka ji samu ngente kabinamne, obono bo chito na individual ni.
In Kenya, a lie or otherwise is determined by political inclination. You know that gentleman that sent a tweet and said, ask Cheriot why he was lying. I'd be glad to meet him and find out from him what kind of test he has run on me to find out, because it's my word against the CS's word. So what test has he run to find out who between him and I are lying?
Right, our politicians watch your mouth. Who said what will be a regular here on Sidebar. All right, let's do the final part of the show right now. And this is a topic that is very close to my heart. And I remember it just like yesterday. September 24th, 6 years ago to the date today, the end of the siege. That's the title or the headline on the Daily Nation. Now, the Westgate siege was overtaken by special forces. The assault team vanquished terrorists, bringing to an end the 4-day siege. Victory was declared by none other than the Commander-in-Chief himself, President Uhuru Kenyatta. The question was, what happened to the hostage? The army was reported to have taken back the mall after 2 hours of gunfight, and sources said the troops put up a display to distract the terrorists, giving them the slightest edge they needed in the attack. Elaborate show involving lots of smoke and shooting by the soldiers and the police officers diverted the attention of the terrorists and the shooters. A KDF sniper then took a shot at the terrorist leader, which then allowed the soldiers to access the third floor, where they fought the rest of the terrorists for the better part of the day. And also that day was when Deputy President William Ruto requested the ICC judges to allow the trial to continue without him. A good place to end tonight's show. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Daktari, for coming and sharing your perspective. And thank you for watching all our comments. And your comments have been scrolling. Remember, as always, he's on Twitter at Ezekiel Mutua. He's always on social media, so you can engage him. At Ken Mijungu, the hashtag as always is Sidebar. Thanks for watching. On behalf of my team, Rosalia Karanja and Jackson Dirango, thanks for watching. Let's do this next week, same place, same time. Have a good night.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, we give thanks like we really supposed. Yeah, we give thanks like we really supposed to be thankful.
Every Thursday evening, it's Lit 360.
I don't see you from. Everybody's having the time of their life.
Here at Lit 360, we put the pop in pop culture. And to live up to that hype, take a look at this.
See them, I come back again now. All the pretty girl let you wine now. See that steak, you give you banana. Smile on, I say oh nana. With that body, shiny tangana. Leave me alone. If you can keep up with the Jones, I'd rather climb Bali, don't be coming to my zone.
That sunshine is shining. Take a step, you're the best, and you know you're gonna prosper.
Is this a Nigerian dish that we're cooking?
No, well, this is not a Nigerian dish. This is an MKO's dish. I taught myself how to cook.
As always, you know we are bringing the heat by bringing you the best in fashion, food, music, and of course some fun. This is Lit 360, and it's about to go down.
Wewe ni mbaya, umenidanganya. Wewe ni mbaya, umenidanganya. Bonukanicheza.
Health is a human right, and science facilitates the enjoyment of that right. Healthy Nation is an informative and insightful pullout on matters health and science. Join the conversation. Get your copy of Healthy Nation this and every Tuesday, only in the Daily Nation. Powered by Nation Media Group and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.
I'ma keep it short and sweet. DJ play the song on repeat. Odi dance to the beat.
Right about now, you are rocking with the best. I can't on it now, you know. I can't on it now, you know. Nah, you know.
K the Great.
Yeah. Three hopper man. Yeah, okay. First hustle, aftermath triumph man. I mean, flown is sick, wanted by Aga Khan. I see influenza, infants ya biggie na Chaka Khan. Label me beginner soon enough. The veteran, I see the light. Very soon I saw the heavy days. Baraka zishawa, kiasi kiasi, rainy days. Emblem the fire flame, na end game the same. Much bigger than fame. Shangilie, ameshinda. Ameshinda. Shangilie, ameshinda. Oscar de la Renta, na drip ya top. Fendi na Prada, in no time, Nicola Dizagwap. Aside from the stress and the mess, na feel blessed. Music tuma na kuroga na zest. Fit your landmine, bound and my cup run it over, you overflow. For a dance to the France, uki wine Bordeaux. Style ni raw, ni single who defy the law. Shangilie, ameshinda. Ameshinda. Shangilie, ameshinda. Pimping na my G's, amigos. With a red hot chili pepper, jalapeno, immaculately still stainless. And my boo keeps insane. I be rich and famous. Na papa family, otherwise ni painless. Bars check, under duress, finesse. How many more lines do you go impress? Chini ya vine a victory, man. Mika 4-4, they will have my victory then.
Super kwa get, anadai java the det, ninadai kumarinet. Inaeza wakasana, jing tukisonga tangu jana. The painting wanna put it on kijana. Tukisonga na idha, tunasonga na idha. Tauna na maidha, inawaka na idha. Amebeba mabidha. How you doing Aisha? That's the way you love the way you kila mtu mahali yake waria.
Kama siko mtani basi nipate kwenye bar. Kwetu hewa spika ilipuliza neighbor. Kachumbari kombe smoking ndani ya van. Kisha moshi mbili niko irem kala kaniban. Digi down julu black utadak. Bash na mangoko wana behave kama duck. Bash sayanja uneza susi tumdak. Sasi tingisha mawolo lilo. We muderu mokorino. Mogi kimonyoski mpaka maalbino. Kakipaka makeup kana kamladino.
Inaeza wakasana, jing tukisonga tangu jana. The painting wanna put it on kijana. Tukisonga na idha, tunasonga na idha. Tauna na maidha, inawaka na idha. Amebeba mabidha.
Alright, shashina bag. Cheza na rema jamaa. Shashina bag. Cheza na rada majamaa. Shashina bag. Cheza na rema jamaa. Shashina bag. Cheza na rada majamaa. Kisonga na idhani mkala. Na wakanyaga na akala. We ni kipara na unapara. Umeoga na unanuka tara. Wana spreadsheet na Excel. G5 ndo cartel, only the few wananiget. Mfuko mandovu na jiset, blacks chaba na kikeg.
Inaeza waka sana, jing jing tukisonga tangu jana. The painting wanna put it on jana. Tukisonga na idha, tunasonga na idha, taona na maidha, inawaka na idha, amebeba mabidha.
Badman nimelanda kibeng masani ya mbele wacha tukaende zikate sana pia nanga tusongeze wesi mzembe baby weni wembe umeivisha sana kanipandisi ya nyege bakisha kasonge sana limbe mia pana kimbiza usisonge nikitema bado nitabambisha tukiban maidha mashisha sasita rada masista
wewe musichana bado hujasimama bahali yako
bumburusha sianda bumburusha sianda bumburusha ukisonga na idha bumburusha
Saka niko busy man, wanani rank zaidi ya shaba. Niko juu zaidi ya jaba, vile yo basti na kapoa kwa waistline. Hata singekuwa msanii bado singe waistline. Na all eyes iko kwa uyu dem, all night niko mabubu yeah. Unadu nini baadaye, si tuende hivi ni kushoki tu, tuende hivi ni kushoki tu. Unadu nini baadaye, si tuende hivi ni kushoki tu, tuende hivi ni kushoki tu. Ukinipa minita twanganga, wezi sabuni so siwezi kuku panganga. Sila majuju baby misijiwa ganganga, twende mala twende nikupeleke na manga miumanga kama simba miwi kanyaga rombosa demwa roisa baada mina kama sa kimakanga jopo kwa bedroom ina weli kwa matanga. Unadu nini baadaye, si twende hivi ni kushoki tu, twende hivi ni kushoki tu. Unadu nini baadaye, si twende hivi ni kushoki tu, twende hivi ni kushoki tu. Sura mola kini yamebeba teke, rangi suturungi imeshika chokolate. Niko leo peke yangu sina visita, sikuje baadaye kitu saa sita. Kamulu kwa Joska hapo kwa seta, tunapiga ndani mpaka placenta. Unadu nini baadaye, si tuende hivi ni kushoki tu, tuende hivi ni kushoki tu. Unadu nini baadaye, si tuende hivi ni kushoki tu, tuende hivi ni kushoki tu.
See, I've been digging your style, your vibe, got your eyes on me. Please don't waste no time, but come on and dance with me. Yeah. I know you like what you see, wanna take shots with me. Take shots. Ebo nikumbushe, uniguse, kale ka feeling, boy to the ceiling. Ebo nikumbushe, uniguse, kale ka feeling, boy to the ceiling. club. Tachanganyisha wadhi when we step it up. We light it up, we fire up. Tafanya mambo majambos wacha kiwake. Me and my girls in at the club. Tachanganyisha wadhi when we step it up. We light it up, we fire up. Tafanya mambo majambos wacha kiwake. Boy me like your sexy body. You got me thinking all I'm not there. Boy me like your sexy body. Panganga mingi missy target. Boy me like your sexy body. You got me thinking all I'm not there. Boy me like your sexy body. Panganga mingi. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham boy shika namba. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham boy shika namba. Ma tam tam, you want some? Ma sham sham, I got some. Ma tam tam, boy shika namba, yeah. All that you want is another baby. Yeah, now I'm benzing, yeah. All that you want is another baby, yeah. All that you want is another baby. Yeah, now I'm benzing, yeah. All that you want. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham, boy shika namba. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham, boy shika namba. Ma tam tam, you want some? Ma sham sham, I got some. Ma tam tam, boy shika namba. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham, boy shika namba. These are your things, these are your tam tam. Nipe ma sham sham, boy shika namba. Ma tam tam,
Na bahati tena. Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter. Akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter. Simu inalia paraparara. Hii ni tempting, hii ni fire. Simu inalia paraparara. Inavutia kasauti ya kwaya. Simu inalia paraparara. Hii ni tempting, hii ni fire. Simu inalia paraparara. Inavutia kasauti ya kwaya. Say oh nana. Akili yangu inagogaga. Say oh nana. Mimi na dhambi tunagombana. Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter. Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter.
Yo, CCTV na God yuko inadi. Ameni bless vimeja uliza madi. Hajaini cancel na isi dancel. Ni ushuhuda wangu kutoka mwanzo. Mimi nikakufuli vile God ameni lock. Judewa kinisacha na patani memblock. Kitao nilikuwa na wasiwasi. Nilitaka vitu zifanyike kasi. Oya, since I know Mungu wangu hachelewi ashanipa sigino. Always on time if you know, you know.
Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter. Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter. Devo knocking. Una blocky. Naona talkie. Kwa Yesu mina walkie. Picky pong, ziggy song. Hini Jesus song, diggy dong.
Picky pong, ziggy song. Hini Jesus song, diggy dong. Ni wisdom.
Devo akiacha miss call. Kwa Insta. Devo akiacha miss call. Facebook, Twitter.
If anything happens tonight, blame it on the shadow. See, I work hard for the money, come with your body, don't need to worry. If anything happens tonight, blame it on the shadow. See, I work hard for the money, come with your body, don't need to worry.
Born in a trap, I was raised in the gutter life. I'd win a gunfight with the butter knife. Root boy OG, that's a murder heist. So girl, tell your man we are not alike. I brag different, my swag is nice. Got Jinja, my part appear for half the price. That's why she let me clap it twice. El Patron, Papa Jones, man, I'm that precise. I'm trying to keep calm, but that's a big duty. I left my girl at home cause she was a bit moody. Now I'm in the club surrounded by thick cuties. If anything happens to blame them King Voodoo, cause he's the one who got me drinking soda, sipping coke after coke till them drinks was over. And I don't think it's over. Somebody need to get me sober.
If anything happens tonight, blame it on the Shire. See I work hard for the money, come with your body, no need to worry. If anything happens tonight, blame it on the Shire. See I work hard for the money, come with your body, no need to worry. Oh. Them the wonder why the money plenty for ground. See them chicks, they plenty for town. Nobody go fi collect my crown, no. Nobody. Girl, it be like say you know what's up and I know what's up. I couldn't feel like say we go put it up, turn it up, Shire. There's a lot of things I can't deny you. Anything you want, though, girl, I go buy you. Mix the Coca-Cola with the brando. Yeah. I waka 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 hey, I waka hey. Cause every single day and night we go celebrate. I waka 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 hey, I waka hey. So don't you hesitate. If anything happens tonight, blame it on the Shire. See I work hard for the money, come with your body, no need to worry. If anything happens tonight, blame it on the Shire. See I work hard for the money, come with your body, no need to worry. Oh.
Lozi tashika Joe, Juni Millie for show. So let her need to know, anaweza fika home. Juni mingiza dough, I'm on a bigger roll. My figure so your business piga about a week ago. And I'm hella lady, Zanakuja Billy. Every girl I got is pretty, and I'm feeling silly. Hitting up city to city, if you hating that's a pity. And I got the medication in case you lonely you need. Not be about to let loose. Zita Shika Kazile Enzi's a F2. I'm the dude you're shorty trying to get next to. So I'm the reason if your girl don't text you. Tonight, say this is the night tonight I make you feel alright.
Hit of the Week in association with Nation FM.
On the beat.
Ole manga, amanga ngo, ole manga, amanga ngo, ole manga, amanga ngo, mabwana zama bibi zao, ole manga, amanga ngo, ole manga, amanga ngo, ole manga, amanga ngo, mabwana zama bibi zao.
Sina lobaya wacha kushanga, na tuna haya na yu manga, nikojua jabu nkiri mshashanga, na niko na mbugi yangu